Alright, hello everyone. Today I want to talk about an updated version of my Candida protocol. And this also applies to fungus, toe or fingernail fungus, or mold, anything like that. Just showing here some examples of what Candida or fungus might look like on the skin, in the nails, on the tongue, anywhere in the body basically where there's some inexplicable rash. And honestly, even eczema and psoriasis should respond to the basics of this protocol, especially just going gluten-free. I have this older video up, but I've made some changes to my Candida protocol. So first, we'll cover the basics. You definitely want to starve out Candida. Candida will thrive on carbs and on sugar. So the backbone of this protocol is going extremely low carb. And this should be for at least 3 months. If you do this properly, the symptoms, at least most of them, should be gone within the first month or two, but you want to continue the protocol all the way through 90 full days. This is kind of like putting a campfire out. You don't want to just pour some water on it and walk away. The fire might come back. So even if your symptoms, your fire, is gone in a month, you want to carry this through for a full 3 months to make sure it's gone, make sure it does not come back. People ask how much carbs can they have? Well, generally I see people recommending between 30 and 60 grams maximum for your daily carb intake. I don't like to put a number on it. I like to just say go as low as possible. And yeah, 60 grams, that makes sense to me as a maximum, but just cut out carby foods. Cut out all sugar, no processed sugar, no chocolate, no honey, no syrup, no alcohol, no fruit juices, nothing like that. And gluten is already on our avoid list. That's wheat, barley, and rye. And we also put oats, buckwheat, and quinoa on the list. And any other grains that have gluten in them, like kasha or couscous or whatever. But we're saying right now, go all the way grain-free. No grains, no rice, nothing. So this isn't too different from my original Candida protocol. The one big food change I've made to my Candida protocol is to add dairy to the list of avoid. So no dairy. At least milk and cheese. I would still actually use butter because most people who are sensitive to dairy or quote unquote intolerant to dairy can actually still have butter because butter has very little of the proteins left, which are probably what people are reacting to. I've only ever seen a handful of cases where butter was the problem for people, so butter should be fine on this diet, but get rid of the milk and cheese. And store-bought sour cream, cottage cheese, yogurt, all that stuff, unless you can get these products raw. Because a lot of people messaged me since I've had that Candida video up and they told me they needed to get rid of dairy to fully get on top of the problem. Especially Americans, where their dairy quality is extremely poor, but honestly anyone who's consuming pasteurized or homogenized milk or cheese, I never thought that stuff had much value in the first place. And I've recently become extra convinced that it's a problem because of this book, The Raw Truth About Milk by William Douglas. Highly recommend that. And I have to take the accounts of the many people who have told me that they had to get rid of dairy to get hold of their Candida. So get rid of the dairy as well, at least for now. You can eat meat, you can eat vegetables, you can eat eggs, you can have as much bone broth as you want. And I highly recommend basing your meals on cruciferous vegetables and green leafy vegetables. Could be cooked or raw, but I recommend cooked, lightly cooked, with butter added, and salt, and your favorite spices. We do have a cookbook, by the way, and we've recently updated it. Pretty massive update, and in there we have lots of spice guides for your different food groups, especially vegetables, because a lot of people don't know what to eat when you take away grains and rice. So I'm recommending basing your meals on cruciferous vegetables, and you can have some meat and eggs and so on, like I said. People ask if they can have fruits on the Candida diet. I don't recommend it. You're going to be best to lean on vegetables. And a lot of people will take this much further, by the way. This is not as restrictive as some other Candida diets that are out there. A lot of people will be recommending that you have no coffee or tea or anything like that as well. Vinegar. I'm not going that strong, but I do recommend that you focus on those cruciferous vegetables and onions and especially garlic. Garlic is one of these foods, these antimicrobial foods that comes up again and again in a Candida diet, and one of my product recommendations that I'll talk about later is actually there because of its garlic content. I do also recommend avoiding beans and peas, by the way. including peanuts. And be cautious with potatoes and sweet potatoes. I do recommend leaving those for the second or third month if you're going to reintroduce those, but you're best to lean on the low carb or no carb vegetables. And you can put butter on those cruciferous vegetables or green leafy vegetables. You can use a double boiler so that the steam cooks them and then nutrients fall down into the pot, and you can drink that as a broth as well. That's fantastic. Good practice in general. And that is actually the gist of the diet. Extremely low carb, as low as possible. Lean on vegetables to make up for your bulk forage, and then you can have meat and eggs and so on. I'm not putting a big emphasis on nutrients here, even though most of what we do is about nutrients, the essential nutrients, minerals, vitamins, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. There's quite a lot of evidence to support the idea that many of those nutrients are very important for getting a hold of Candida, especially the immune nutrients, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, selenium, omega-3. And we do recommend everyone be on all 90 essential nutrients all the time. And you could do the 90 essential nutrients at the same time as this Candida protocol. But the truth is, in my practice, I am more worried about killing the Candida as fast as we possibly can. It would be better to have the nutrients in there at the same time, but I've got to pick my battles, and right now I want to kill the Candida. And if you're going to spend any money on health products, the first dollars should go towards anti-Candida products. So top of that list is the cheapest thing that I know to kill fungus and yeast and mold and all kinds of stuff is diatomaceous earth, food grade. You want to buy a nice big bag of this stuff. It's very cheap in America, Canada, and most of the world. It's widely available at health food stores and even on Amazon. We do not sell it, but you can pick it up anywhere. I recommend about 10, 20, maybe even 30 pounds. Again, it will not cost very much, and that should last you the whole 3 months. You can take big doses of this. I actually recommend doing this 3 times a day to be serious about killing mold or yeast or fungus. And that's 2 or 3 heaping tablespoons 2 or 3 times a day. I recommend the first serving first thing in the morning with a pinch of salt in it, so you can just get that out of the way. Does not matter whether you take DE with food or not, you can take it anytime. Do not use any metal with the diatomaceous earth. You want to use plastic or glass or ceramic or wood for your cup and your stir stick, just because metal may neutralize the charge, the electric charge of the diatomaceous earth. DE attracts particles and pathogens to it with its electric charge. So 2 or 3 heaping tablespoons, 2 or 3 times a day, pinch of salt, and it doesn't actually matter how much water you use. You could just use a cup or so, but the more water you use, the less chalky it will be. It doesn't really have a taste. It's kind of like sand or chalk. So just use whatever amount of water you're comfortable with. And I just actually put together a Candida pack, available on my website, wallachswarriors.ca. And if you're already a Youngevity customer or distributor, you can just order these products on your own account or on your auto ship. These products are available in the US, the UK, and Canada. In Australia, I would pick the Microbiome, the Colloidal Silver, and I would use the Super Olive Health by Good Herbs instead of the Immune Support, because the Super Olive Health, it's available in Australia and New Zealand. And I did actually add this to our Australia and New Zealand store. The website is bestliving.store. The link is in the description as well, and that's all in Australian dollars. So the first product in this Candida pack is colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is known to kill basically every pathogen that you can name. Bacteria, yeast, fungus, mold, viruses. Colloidal silver has this magic ability to selectively kill bad stuff. This package here, I'm intending to last 1 month. And you take the servings according to the label, nothing different from my end. The colloidal silver has 48 servings in it, so you can do the math. That's just over 1.5 servings per day. If you buy a different product, you could use similar numbers. It doesn't really matter. People ask all the time, how much colloidal silver do I need to kill an infection or something? Well, I'm not sure. Nobody really seems sure. Colloidal silver works at small doses, and it also works at large doses, so you could take higher doses. Doesn't matter to me. I just recommend spreading it out. Seems to make a lot of sense that you want to take your doses spread out, so you just have more time for the colloidal silver to be doing its thing. Colloidal silver, again, it selectively kills bad stuff. The immune support here, the Good Herbs tincture, I already mentioned I put it on the list primarily for its garlic content, but it's also made from olive leaf. Olive leaf is just another very well-known, very, very powerful antimicrobial, antifungal thing. I honestly don't even know much about those other two herbs, the calendula flower or the chaparral leaf, but I'm sure they're in there because of their powerful antimicrobial content as well. And you can see here that there's 60 servings in this container, so you can take 2 servings per day. That will last you the month as intended. Now the microbiome is on this list because, first of all, it's my favorite overall digestive support product. It's got tons of probiotics and enzymes, and you can see that it has mushrooms in it as well, mushroom extracts. And many people will tell you to avoid mushrooms while you're on the Candida diet. I do not agree. Mushrooms are also very powerful in many different ways for supporting the immune system and even for killing bad stuff. I recently read this book called The Yeast Connection by William Crook, and I disagreed with quite a lot of it, especially the overuse of pharmaceutical antifungals to deal with the problem. But one of the things I do agree with is that Lactobacillus acidophilus has a lot of credible evidence that it can crowd out Candida or help to kill Candida. So you can see that is one of the many probiotics that are in this product, so I have a lot of faith in it. And the microbiome also has the magic ingredient I-26. Here it appears on the label as IgY Max egg powder. Well, that's actually the I-26 egg powder. I-26 is a hyperimmune egg product. So chickens are exposed to 26 different pathogens, and the resulting eggs are hyperimmune to those pathogens. So they actually kill those pathogens when an animal or a human eats that I-26 egg powder. We become hyperimmune to those pathogens. And when you're dealing with Candida, you have to assume that there's other problematic pathogen overgrowth in the body. These things overcome us because of a weak internal environment, or an acidic internal environment, the type of environment that allows bad stuff to thrive. And so it's probably not just Candida, it's probably other pathogens in there as well. For all of these reasons and more, I really wanted microbiome as part of my Candida pack. And it has 30 servings in it, so you're just taking 1 serving, 1 scoop per day in water. And these 3 combined with diatomaceous earth, to me, is a really excellent program. I have a lot of confidence that this will fix the problem for almost anyone, hopefully everyone. And there is one other substance I wanted to mention. Even though I don't have any experience with this substance specifically, I do think it looks promising. A lot of people give it a lot of credit, including regular doctors and alternative people. The substance is called caprylic acid. You can buy caprylic acid at basically any health food store, no problem. You can add this to these other products. It's not expensive. It is also in coconuts, which you could eat coconuts on this diet. They're a high-fat food, so it's not a high-carb food. I don't recommend coconut oil or coconut milk, which is not really milk at all. I don't recommend any vegetable or nut milk, to be honest. Not a good use of money and potentially harmful. But you can have coconuts. And if you are having raw dairy, which I said is the only dairy I would say is okay during the Candida protocol, caprylic acid is in cow's milk. Full-fat cow's milk. It's also in human breast milk. Caprylic acid is also in peanut butter, but we don't recommend peanut butter in general because the peanut industry is not good at storing their products, so mold, Aspergillus mold, tends to grow on peanuts. You can check your peanuts or peanut butter products with a black light to make sure it doesn't have any mold on it, and it's a low-carb food. I already said you should be careful or not eat beans or legumes or peas or peanuts, which are also in that family. But if you insist on finding food sources of caprylic acid, make sure that your peanuts or peanut butter are not moldy. And other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. There's not much to this. You want to starve out the Candida or fungus. You don't want to feed it carbs or sugar. You want to bombard it with antimicrobial stuff, and we've done that with at least 4 products here in this recommendation. And you could add that 5th of caprylic acid. I don't think you need to do much more. You just need to be consistent. And I would definitely appreciate some feedback on this for any of you who have used the previous version of the Candida diet or this new one. Go ahead and reach out to me, keep me updated on your status, and let me know what happened so I can share this with the audience and update my own experience at the same time. Maybe one day I will have to make another updated version of the Candida protocol, because Candida can be a real tricky thing to kill, guys. A lot of people do eliminate their symptoms and then they fall off and they eat some pizza or something and then bam, it comes right back. So be consistent. I wish you the best of luck. I appreciate you. Until next time.